Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels, and we do it in two parts. The first, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching, and the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. Really hope you enjoyed last week's episode with most people know him in the 80s and 90s as Kevin Blair by Kevin Spirtas. It was so much fun talking to him because it's pretty remarkable. He was the final guy in two movies. And I bet you at this point in the sequel that we're going to be discussing this week, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. It's named Part 2, not 2 like the one that Jamie maybe almost watched from 2007. But no, it was pretty the final guy. I wonder if he's one of the first. In the first Hills Have Eyes, there's a final guy, but he has that distinction. Two franchises he survived in. Pretty amazing.
Very rare.
Yeah, very rare. And it was fun to talk to him, obviously, about Friday the 13th, Part 7. I didn't ask him if he recalled how silly it was to have a photo of his cousin in his wallet. But he talked about the filming process. And he actually still has the script that was titled Birthday Bash before they let people know it was actually a Jason Voorhees movie. Talked about his show, After Forever. That's on Amazon Prime. First show ever that won 5 daytime Emmys at once. And that was on the heels of after he was on Days of Our Lives and they wrote him out of the show. And then he comes back after his show is popular to 2021. He's nominated. They pushed everything back because of the writer's strike. He could win a daytime Emmy for his guest starring role on that. So fingers crossed for him. So yeah, if you haven't listened to that, you got to go back and check that out. His story going from working at Six Flags, dancing, winning the Dinah Shore show, Broadway, Hollywood, all within like a few years. Pretty awesome. But now we're going to talk about his, like he said, he's the king of the sequels, especially the horror sequels. And The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, directed and written by Wes Craven. Before I talk about any of these mountain people, really just one mountain person. I guess two, I guess. One sort of like two. A dog. Yeah, one's sort of a nice one in Pluto. I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing okay, Doug. How are you doing?
Good. It's fun when you watch a sequel because when I interview people, I try to not watch the whole movie because I know we're going to review it. So I don't want to get like, especially one I've never seen before. I want it to be fresh in my mind. And man, this one was really good. Like just, you see where, even when we watched Piranha 2 for what it was silly. It had stuff we never seen before. When you're watching the movie, you're like, God, this guy's going to be good one day. And Wes Craven at this point obviously had some hits already, but you knew like what was going to happen later this year was Nightmare on Elm Street came out. This guy, his eye, it's so good looking the way this movie shot.
Yeah, okay. So I feel like this movie was, first of all, it was almost like watching a cartoon. I felt like it was like a cartoon. I mean, Pluto was like a cartoon character. In fact, when he runs away at one point, he makes like a like a kind of noise.
He's giggling the whole movie.
Yeah, the whole movie. You
got the Reaper that whispers people's names. I don't know how he knows their names. Obviously, he could have been peeping and listened and heard their names and like repeated them throughout the rest of the movie.
The Reaper does things that I don't know how he gets around doing, but we'll get to him. But okay, so it feels like a cartoon. It feels like a Bugs Bunny cartoon with all the traps that they have. They look so ridiculous. But it also felt like a Friday the 13th movie. Like, and so like it, like the music was very like Friday the 13th-ish, and like the stalking was kind of Friday the 13th. So I could see like, I don't know if he tried to imitate Friday the 13th at all. But that's what it felt like. It was and I'm very subjective on this movie, so I'm trying to take it for the time it came out and what kind of movie it was. It was just very silly. I'm just surprised that outside of the typical 80s rule of showing boobs once and once throat slash, I'm surprised it was rated R. Like it was kind of a tame movie.
Yeah, well, remember what we learned from doing Temple of Doom. At this point, it was PG or R.
No, I know. So, it's just funny though how like this is considered R when it's. I mean, I always heard about this movie. Again, never seen either one of them. So I was like, all right, what kind of creep fest am I getting into? And this was a very tame, silly movie.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely is. And I agree with the vibes of the Friday the 13th because you like go with each character. You learn about each character. There's relationships. Maybe there's racism. There's definitely racism in this. Like, but no, there's like those little like vignettes of the characters. You learn about them when they're like isolated from each other. But
well, one more thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say one more thing is I didn't have to see the first movie because I think at least a third of the movie is the first movie. I mean, I've never seen a movie with so many flashbacks. The fact that they have so many flashbacks and one flashback is from a dog.
Yes. Okay. It was the same dog.
I bet it was, but I mean, the fact that the dogs have flashbacks now, like I've never seen a flashback from a dog. Like that was unbelievable. Okay.
It was like the dog was like, let me think about that one time when I beat the crap out of this guy. And that's what he flashes back to.
It just makes you think like, do dogs really have like past, like flashbacks that they think about like the time? Remember that time I chased that cat up the tree? That was so much fun. Like,
remember that bone I had that time? That was a good bone. Wonder where that bone is now. Where did I bury that bone?
Oh, okay. I don't know what kind of bone.
In the neighborhood, Cocker Spaniel.
But all right.
But no. So no, what is cool is the fact that even like full circle when we talked to Susie, got like 2020, and just seeing that scene at the end of the movie, she should really be introduced in this movie so many places. She is so badass at the end of the recap to see the end of the first movie. Maybe most movies that aren't as tame, but it's pretty wild the end of the movie. And just with her at that axe hacking at the guy, I wish she was in this movie more. I don't know why she wasn't, but they asked Bobby to be in it because Bobby is in the beginning doing those weird, weird doctor session.
Well, the flashback of the movie, the first movie, it seemed like it had like a Texas Chainsaw feel to it. Like the look of it was very Texas. Like, and again, I never saw the movie, but the first one definitely seemed way more violent just based on that scene alone compared to the rest of this movie. I'm just amazed that like right in the beginning when Bobby's telling the story, and since I didn't see the first movie, but they used his mom as bait.
Well, she was dead already.
Okay. So no respect for the dead body. You're still going to use it as bait?
I would write in the will for my kids to be like, hey, if you ever come across that cannibalistic people that live in a bomb field, you can use me as bait to survive.
Well, okay. So the other question is, and again, we're doing this movie, but Bobby's running around with a gun in the first movie, but he doesn't use it until the second flashback, which happens before the bait scene with his mom. When the guy's chasing him in the trailer, he's got the gun with him. Why is he not shooting at him?
I was thinking because he's a really bad shot, maybe, and he needs to be like super close, even though in the trailer he is close. But the trailer is that's something too. To go in there, you set up the matches, so when the door opens, it sparks. They turn on the stove, and they just get out in time. And
so both movies have the Wile E. Coyote booby traps.
Yes.
Basically.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't think if we tried hard enough that we would be able to make any of the booby traps that they made in this movie.
No, the one that, there's a couple.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like people that really don't have any education whatsoever.
Traps, and they're able to. They're trappers. They're family. That's how they get their food too. And they're,
Food? What food? They live in the desert. Two people live in a desert alone. What are they eating out there?
People.
And how are they surviving? No, there is no people. Really? I mean,
no, there's people that get off the trail. That's that whole room. Remember when they're oh, there's just a bunch of clothes back here. Okay. Those are the people they eat. They keep their clothes.
I don't like going off the trail on like a main highway, let alone in the middle of the desert going off the trail. So these people that keep going off trails.
When you find out that daylight savings time happened from reading the newspaper and then realize you got to take the Harry shortcut.
Okay. Well, I got news for you. The minute I see the welcome sign spelled that way, I'm turning around. Okay. So, I mean, that should have been the first sign right there that I don't think these people are normal.
But this movie, like the beginning part of the movie when we got like the long credits, which again, we talked about this millions of times. Back then, people had patience. They would sit through that and whatever. But the crawl in the beginning of the movie was so creepy. And the last line of it, I think that would have been a great name for the movie. Instead of The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, it was The Hills Still Have Eyes. And I'm like, oh, yeah. That's freaky as shit.
Well, I think just back then, like Part 2 was the big, sequel, notion. But yeah, I had to look it up afterwards. I'm like, was this based on a true story? Because he said, didn't he say something in the crawl that, it's based? Oh, so I wasn't sure, but it's not. It's based on a Scottish or something like folklore that the guy killed like over 100 people.
Jesus
something like
Christ.
that. Yeah. So
it's very tame compared to the real story. Usually they fabricate on the fake story. It's usually like, this guy lived in the desert, ate one person, and then the movie is he ate a family. This is the opposite. He ate 100 people, and then
no. They say they killed 100. So maybe it's different because he didn't eat them. So when you eat them, it takes it to a different level.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. And the cannibal whispers in the movie are really creepy because the one in the trailer, the opening, it was whispering, "I'll eat your kids." Like, what?
So do they do like, because there's no eating in this movie. So is there eating in the first movie?
I don't know if I've seen the first movie. I don't remember they actually eat. I think we're basically seeing like the hunting and the gathering and not the actual like cooking of the bodies.
So are they like cavemen? Because the way they're dressed and the way that what's her face is Ruby is dressed in the first movie.
Oh
like,
my God.
I didn't see the movie, but like she looked like a cave woman.
She was. They probably just used whatever they had close. But you're right. Like for the setting of the movie, and then for her, because she doesn't reveal that she's Ruby to them. She goes by Rachel now. But when she goes, well, what's that sound up there? And she knows just by like the scratches, that's a raccoon. Yes. What raccoons aren't out there?
Yeah. Well, you know what? There goes my question of what are they eating? They're eating raccoons, which I'm surprised raccoons would be in the desert, in the middle of the desert anyway.
I don't think they are out there.
No,
that's why I thought it was silly that she heard that. I'm like, okay.
So how does she know Bobby in the first movie?
Oh, like they only showed that flashback a little bit, but she is one of the people, the cannibals. She says she's never like ate anybody or killed anybody.
Correct.
She saved Bobby's niece.
Right, the baby. Correct.
So in that scene, Bobby goes, "Give me that damn baby," and then he understands that she wants to help, gives the baby back, and she runs off.
Okay, so that's never discussed with the rest of the group ever?
No, they want to hide it that she was part of it.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So, and somehow she lived among them who they barely could speak like complete sentences, and she sounds like she sounds like a teacher.
Michael Berryman he speaks pretty good. So I thought they would be like grunting like the Reaper.
Well, yeah, he does speak well, but he also speaks like a cartoon character. So it's like, maybe he watches a lot of cartoons. He's awesome. He's so awesome, and, I did some research on him, I forget what movie I was doing. And, he was talking about like, he obviously he has some kind of disease that makes him look like that, but he plays those roles so well. Talk about someone that, was born with something that you would think like would be shunned upon, and he embraced it into Hollywood. And he's an iconic character in every movie he's in.
Oh yeah, no. So memorable. And even in this, like his scenes of like, even when he's running away, the laughs he's saying, the things he says to his sister.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So yeah, so here's so the doctor was a total so the point of this movie, the most important reason to get across the desert for Bobby and Rachel is more business, is because he has a super fuel that he's formulated. So he's an engineer or chemist, and he needs to show that off at the races because it's like the new thing. And to me, it makes zero sense because when Kevin used it, Roy, he doesn't go that much faster.
No, he doesn't. And so here's being as subjective as I can with this movie. There are so many ridiculous loopholes in this movie. So one, why? First of all, if you were Bobby and you went through that traumatic experience, would you stay that close to the area that it happened in? Wouldn't you like move far away, as far away as and not only that, would you ever plan any kind? You tell me that's the only race that's around is the one that has to go through the desert. There's no other races that they can go to.
Yeah, no, I wish they would have showed their climate. I don't think they lived in the desert. My guess is they lived in like maybe like Western California or something. Because when we see Roy creep into a blind girl's house, which is something, even though it's his girlfriend, but that was like very like green and there was trees and stuff. So
but again, no, I was saying, but again, it's still. The race has to go towards the area where the killers are. So you're telling me that's the only race in the United States that they can show off their super fuel.
I'm guessing that the way they talked about it, it was like the big race. Maybe it's like out of everything.Maybe it's like a major race. So all the distributors or maybe everybody's going to be there. But the fact that he was nervous, and here's the doctor, and I have a theory that the doctor has stake in the gas, because this is his explanation to Bobby about it.
And so he's dead, right?
I guess. Look at the dad from Elf.
We just left.
He does.
You know he's dead. You killed him. You blew him to shit. Your sister axed him. You shot him. Now what does it take to convince you?
You didn't see that guy. He was.
He was a stupid psychopath.
This is right. This is like a traumatic story, and he's just like, "Yeah, what do I have to do to convince you? You blow
them
up."
They all were. They were all beatable. You did it. You know it.
Friday the 13th didn't show us doctors, psychiatrists in the 80s.
These races, Bobby, and it makes perfectly good business sense too. Right?
Right.
This new formula gas of yours is going to be
maybe he's like one of the uncles of the cannibals.
The professionals see it.
Because he looks like he looks
people.
Creepy.
Yeah. He's got like those Dahmer serial killer like.
Listen,
glasses.
That's why he's forcing them to go to.
So that's the whole thing. He's like, you know what? Nobody's gonna see your gas unless you go. And yeah, maybe he is part of the.
See, I'm disagreeing with you. I don't know. I don't think he has anything to do with the gas. I think he wants him to go through there because he's one of the cannibals' family members.
He's one of them.
He looked creepy.
It was creepy. It was just so weird after hearing this traumatic. That's like if somebody says, "I survived a plane crash," and oh my god, it was so traumatic. And he only did. It's like, so get on a fucking plane tomorrow. It's like, whoa, dude, I drive everywhere now. No,
but I think the thing is because clearly his friends don't believe that this happened because they were saying and on the bus they were talking about the folklore of the cannibals that live in the mountains. They were saying so like they
knew a lot about it and they were not.
They knew a lot about it, right? So this doctor clearly doesn't believe him either. I think that's what it is. So there clearly his whole family got murdered. No one believes that this happened in what he's telling. Like they think he's making this up.
Yeah. Which is crazy. If somebody, even if it was somebody that told a story about something, I would like something that, those woods, man. When I was a kid, I saw this guy in those woods. He bashed a guy in the head with a baseball bat. Even if like, that sounds a little crazy. You were 10, you're telling me the story now, you're 30. You'd be like, I'm not going to go in those woods by myself. But this, they're like joking about it. Like Harry's crawling on the ground when they're going through it after they say, I forgot what we're entering an old a bomb field, right? Wasn't that they called it?
A bomb shelter or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, we're out of beer. Not,
you know where he's,
oh my God.
You know where he's from, right?
Oh no.
He's in Greece too. I think he's the guy in the bomb shelter. I think he's the guy in the bomb shelter that's singing to his girlfriend in Greece too. That's wearing that army helmet.
Wow, that'd be really ironic. So in 82, he's doing a bit about being in a bomb shelter, and then he dies in a bomb field.
Yeah, I think that was him. But so I mean, he played a loony character. I mean, but yeah, it's again, we see this in all time in the movies. Something traumatic, like something major happens. I mean, obviously, one person gets killed, but whole. I mean, I don't know how many people died in the first movie, but it had to be a handful. That's gonna be newsworthy.
A family like 6. Yeah, you
Okay.
would think like,
So
hey, Bobby's whole family disappeared.
correct.
You
And
know?
no one believes it. No one thinks they think he's making it up. Like, and this is their friend. Like, so I mean, and they're still hanging around him. So I mean, yeah. And shame on Bobby. I mean, he clearly was not stable enough to even set this up. So why was he even planning on setting it up? Like, I mean, the fact that he's cowering behind boxes, crying alone, like what makes him think that this was a good idea in the first place?
Maybe he didn't want to go back at all. Maybe it was just the doctor, or maybe it was Rachel. Maybe Rachel wanted to get him back so her brother can. Maybe she missed home.
Okay. Is Rachel the same character from the first movie? Like, I know it's the same
she's
character,
Ruby.
same actress.
Same actress, yeah, Janice Blythe. She's been in a ton of stuff. Like she has a super. She almost looks like it's not her, but the waitress from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Pee-wee. She has like
Yeah,
same
yeah.
face. It's not her, but I looked at her IMDb. She's in a bunch of stuff.
Are these like high school students? Or like, what are they? Like, I don't know.
I would say they're probably in their 20s. That'd be my guess.
Okay. All right. Because Rachel looked a lot older.
No, she definitely. No, she was a business manager. She was Bobby's partner. So, because Bobby owes his niece's life to her. So that's like a big kind of part of it. But no, so then we can talk about, we see a man in a creepy mask. Dude, this mask could be a horror slasher. That's a scary looking mask.
First of all, I didn't even realize when he first drives up on the motorcycle, I literally thought it was one of the mountain people, because he looked like mask looked like I looked like it could have been like a melted face or something that just but there's so many questions with the scene right here. Is this something he does often? Because there happened to be a ladder the size of that's laying down by the house that fits right to her window.
Perfect.
And why is he wearing first of all, why is he wearing a mask? First of all, I didn't even realize she was blind until like halfway, like when she's on the bus scene and when she's not even looking at the person. I'm like, why is she blind? Like, because they don't make reference of it at all. I didn't get it. And then when I go back and look at it, she overdoes the blind thing so much that like she doesn't look at anybody at all, like purposely. Like, I would think someone that's blind, they hear this person talking, they're gonna turn their head. She literally faces the opposite way of every single person talking. And
I realized she was blind. The only reason I questioned it right away was when her phone, because I'm thinking of the year and I'm thinking of technology. And I'm like, I don't know if like phones spoke or alarms spoke. But her alarm said what time it was, the day it was, and everything. I'm like, that's really weird. And then when he said, you always go to feel my face first, so that's why I wore this mask, I'm like, oh, she's blind.
So his intention was to scare her? Like
yeah.
I mean, how creepy is that? Like, but he had to get a glass of water first. He's walking around her parents' house in a mask on, like with no care at all. And okay, you're gonna sneak in someone's house. Would you wear one that basically looks like a criminal? Because he's got that criminal hat on, has that like the rolled up like ski hat, and like wouldn't you wear like at least something like that? Literally, it looks like he could be breaking into someone's house.
Well, I think any mask I would question. If I looked across the street, any mask that someone was wearing going through a window, it's not like there would be a mask. I'd be like, oh, they must be the window washer.
Wait, so you're telling me if he's wearing like an Alf mask, you're going to be like, by the way, second Alf reference in like, the first 20 minutes. That's pretty good. So,
Great.
but he's going to wear an Alf mask. You're going to say, oh, that guy must be breaking into the house. You're going to think it's like a kid foot playing around. Like,
a kid just wearing an Alf mask.
What? Adults wear Alf masks?
Maybe.
What?
Any mask, any mask at all. I see somebody climbing a ladder in any mask. They're trying to hide their identity. I call the cops.
Okay, that's the other question. Do a lot of criminals break in with a ladder to the top floor? Like, if you're gonna break, if you're a criminal, you're gonna break into a house. Why would you go to the top floor?
That's a great question. Unless, why wouldn't you go through the?
I mean, isn't it a lot easier just to go through the first window? Like, just, And again, that ladder was a huge ladder, just happened to be laying there.
Maybe the dad was like washing windows yesterday. Perfect length. He
Okay.
nailed it. And then
All right.
the fact that she goes, my dad will hear you, right? I think she's my dad or my
something like
parents.
that.
And then in my head, I'm like, holy shit. And then I'm like, it's still like pretty early and she wants to have sex. And it seems like that door's open. So maybe she is one of those cool kids that used to have the whole top floor because the hallway door is open because she leaves to like look around. And
Wait. She leaves to look around? She's blind.
Shut it off. Shut off the.
Okay.
Let's shut it down. No, but she goes to hear around.
Okay. Well, okay.
and-
Let's be honest, though. She does more in this movie than any other character, and she's blind. She makes
and
her
people
way around this
reference her
movie.
as a bloodhound. The one girl
Yeah.
references her,
Yes.
you are better than my bloodhounds.
She does more in this movie throughout the entire movie than any of the regular characters.
Oh, 100%. She hears, because she obviously, because when you don't have a sense, the other ones are hiding.
Yeah.
She hears something so
She
far
hears-
away.
She hears senses. It's
Yeah.
not, she doesn't hear anything. She hears senses because she explains that. There is a funny part though. I saw that she was near the end when he tells her to run away. There's a part where she's running, but there's like a pole in the way. You see her sidestep the pole and then run.
She sensed
So,
that.
okay. She did sense it. Okay.
What if Wes
All right.
Craven's like, let's do that scene again, and remember, you're blind. And then she has to full-fledged run into it.
Okay. You know what? She's in probably the most dangerous area for a blind person.
Oh,
Mine shafts and mine carts and like houses that have
refrigerator
sharp
hiding spots.
Yeah. Yet she's literally exploring the entire place by herself most of the movie. It's
Dude, when she
ridiculous.
goes upstairs, which is at the end of the movie,
Oh.
she just hears a sound. She goes, Roy?
Wait.
All right.
Wait, she doesn't go upstairs. She climbs a ladder.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, so she climbs a blind person climbing a ladder. How do you get down? How do you know where the ladder is? How do you know that she does so much? I mean, she's hanging over a mine shaft with a rope. I mean, yeah. She does remarkable stuff in this movie.
She's the hero by far.
Oh,
Roy
yeah.
disappears
Well,
for a
no,
long time.
well, I would say Beast is the hero. by
Oh,
far.
Beast is the hero, yeah.
You know, I mean, he tries to warn them. Probably the minute they get there, he doesn't stop barking the entire time, and everybody ignores him.
yeah. Until one point when she says, "I hear movement by the bus," or I sense movement by the bus, and they go, oh, "Beast!" and then they just run there, and the dog's sitting there,
Yeah.
just sitting there.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my god! And then we meet Harry for the first time. He flies in. He can't afford a helmet. He wears a football helmet, and he crashes. Dude, that was a real crash.
It
Whatever
was,
that
but
stuntman did.
why were there a bunch of empty boxes outside?
So true.
That-
Maybe just for that scenario. Harry set it up the night before.
They were piled up like it made it look like they were filled with boxes, but they were like, if you're recycling or throwing boxes away, you're gonna break them down. No, they were piled up in all across the wall as if perfect timing for him to do his crash. So yeah.
Yeah. And we meet the other girls in the movie. I forget the one girl's name. Sue is Penny Johnson from Larry Sanders, which I'll never look at her the same way again. Just that she did the 80s rule. And I forget the other girl's name.
Teresa? Maybe no.
Yeah, I think Teresa. She was with Harry.
Okay, maybe. Okay. And then you have Hulk.
That sounds right. Hawk? Was it Hawk or Hulk?
No, it's Hulk.
The big guy.
It's
yeah,
Hulk
okay.
because he's from Footloose. He's one of the Kevin Bacon's friends in Footloose.
Really? Oh,
Yes.
okay. I see that now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
A lot of like 80s.
Lot of
That's good when you see
lot of
that.
80s.
And it's good when you see characters, especially in a horror movie, that are in other things. Because I gotta say, a lot of the Friday the 13th movies, a lot of the cast isn't in other things. Like very rarely that it's more than a few or other things that you actually remember. This we already have like so many went on to like
handful.
like Larry Sanders won Emmys, and she was on it for the whole run of the series from the beginning to end.
Yeah. No. But yeah, but I just because he looked familiar, so I had to look him up, and he plays the same role, and he plays the big goon in Footloose also, like but yeah, it's the characters in this movie, for the most part, were not outside of the blind girl and Ruby and Beast, maybe Roy, but outside of that, they weren't like likable characters, and they were forgettable. Like I forgot there were two other people on the bus. Like they said, the girl Teresa, whatever, like she doesn't really like do much until later on in the movie. Like, like you don't like, I don't know. I feel like there weren't that many likable characters.
Yeah. And I think that's sometimes the horror movies do because when you're watching it, you're almost not like you're rooting for them to die, but there's some people you're just like, whatever. Because Foster and Sue, like their couple. And then the first time we see Foster, Roy says to him, looks like you've been getting a nice tan.
Yeah, there's definitely a few of those kind of jokes in here. But you know what though? That's an okay joke. If you're friends with someone, you go back. It's fine. But to me, he was a very unlikable character.
Oh, he was terrible. He was trying to cheat on Sue after he just slept with her. He walks up peeping on Teresa.
Well, I mean, not for nothing. Teresa decides to take a shower in the dark outside. In like the creepiest area possible, and she doesn't even break the 80s rule. There was no 80s rule in that scene.
See not really. Little teeny.
Not really. No.
You see
Foster's girlfriend took one for the team.
She did one for the team.
It was such an unnecessary scene, but they had to throw it in there. Like the way they did it, it was just so ridiculous.
Yeah, we're gonna go look for some tools, and then they go right to have a beer and have sex. And leave the blind girl.
And kick the dog out of the bus. They kick the dog out of the bus. But the fact that she calls him over with no shirt on, like it was like a short little scene, but like that in order to do that, to have the rule come in, she had to do that.
Yeah. And then Hawk, shortcut. It's like, dude, this guy probably barely looked at this map. Like, I don't think before you go on a trip, I know back then, or God, even like 20 years ago, before like TomToms and stuff, you're like using a Rand McNally map. And like, you're telling me he's looking at this and be like, oh, this is the one road that we could take across the desert. And like,
well, doesn't the girl say you're looking at the map upside down?
Well, Roy was, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. But I mean, okay, so again, these guys are on a bus, which I don't even know where they get a bus from, which is all souped up with like a party bus. Yeah. But so they get and figures that Hawk, what's his name? No, who's the crazy one? The Harry. Harry would have that. But they're on a road in the middle of nowhere with no other cars around. They haven't passed one like gas station or anything else. What makes you think it's a good idea to take a shortcut?
No, I know. Because what if you have no gas? You think there's no gas on the main road that you've been on? Then you think a random cut through road that's not even paved is going to have gasoline?
And it makes me think, we said that, these people eat people, but there wasn't one car on the road. So how often do cars go by? They must be starving.
Well, how many people do you have to eat a month? I bet you got to think, you eat a person, let's say a 200-pound person, what's edible out of that? I don't know if there's any cannibals listening at Sequels Only. Well, like a quarter of that you can eat?
Wait,
like 50 pounds worth?
Did you just say what's edible out of a human to a cannibal? You think a cannibal says, oh, you know what? We can eat the legs, but the fingers, forget about it. We don't touch fingers. We don't touch ears. I mean, like a cannibal probably anything left over, they make stew out of it.
Oh, that's true. Human stew. You call it, and then you know what they make for their specialty is a boy named Stu.
Oh,
shut off the podcast. It's over. That's it. Good night.
Well, isn't that? Oh, I'm forgetting. We're gonna go down a road, but there's a joke. Isn't that a joke? Like, what do you call? I don't want to say it. Forget it. Let's go.
Is that a joke?
Well, it's a joke. What do you call with someone with no arms and no legs in a pot? Stew.
Stew? Oh, I never heard that one. I've heard Matt. I've heard, what do you call it?
Yeah, I know. This is ridiculous.
Oh my God. But
all right.
So we talked about it a little bit before when they're talking about the bomb range and what happened in the past. Ruby's like convulsing sort of and like breathing heavy, and Cass can hear that and sense that. She goes to talk to her, and she finds out
hold on.
like,
The entire bus can hear it. Because I mean, like, first of all, I thought she was having a nice dream. The way she was acting, she was like, I mean, like it wasn't scared. Like she looked like she was enjoying the way she was doing that. But like the fact that only the blind person gets up to check on her.
yeah.
No one else went to check on her. And she knew exactly what seat she was in. How'd you know what seat she was in?
Her brain can somehow map, like she knows. She knew exactly where she was. Everywhere. And this is movie.
Everywhere. But this is the scene that made me realize that she was blind, because like, and again, I'm like, she's a terrible actress. She's like staring away from her. This is what I'm saying to myself. She's a terrible actress. She's not even looking at her. And then after a while, I'm like, and she might have made mention that she was blind or something. And that's when I'm like, okay, duh. Okay. But I literally thought, like, all right, this is such a cheesy movie. The actors aren't even looking at each other. She's reading her lines as she's reading it to her.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Oh, she's blind. Okay. Now the first 25 minutes makes sense. So this is the part on their shortcut. They hit a rock that if that rock wasn't there, they would have made it, right? It would have been great later in the movie. It would somehow down a road, we saw like spikes in the road or something to show us as the viewer, like no matter what, they would have made it out. But anyway, they somehow hit a rock that hit the gas tank perfectly.
But it doesn't though. The rock hits the tire. When they drive over it, nothing hits the gas at all. It literally, you see the car going over the rocks, and you see like the bus bouncing, and then you see it like hit the tire, but nothing hits to make it leak like that.
Movie magic. Somehow it did. And then the guy solves the problem using chewing gum. And obviously they have that. That's what made no sense to me too. So they said, oh, we don't have a lot of fuel. And then I'm like, you have a giant thing of fuel. That's special fuel for a motorcycle. Motorcycles take
but he said, didn't he say that it would blow up the bus or something like that? He said if we use the fuel. Oh. Yeah. So he says the fuel is too strong for the bus. It would blow up the bus. That's why. Shit. So yeah. So good theory, but right.
They're right. Yeah, they're right not to try it. But they had somehow they still had some gas left because they were moving it. Obviously, they drove it down a little bit more. And then they stop and they see this creepy little town. It was probably some movie set from the 60s, 70s that was like left behind from something. And they think, you know what? Let's get out and walk around.
And again, Ruby's not saying anything, like warning them. Oh, so that's the loop. To me, that's the big, okay, so Ruby doesn't want to say where she's from, but she's literally delivering them to death because she's not warning them at all.
Yeah, or she really believes they're dead because she thought Pluto was dead from the first one because of Beast, and her uncle died. So it's the funniest part about this movie. Well, her dad died. Her daddy died. Jupe, Papa Jupe.
So Jupiter. where was Reaper in the first movie?
So that's the funny thing. Actually, to bring it back to another cartoon analogy, because as adults, that's all I can think about from watching cartoons as a kid. He is like Speedy Gonzalez's, not Speedy Gonzalez, Tom and Jerry, when he would call his cousins and he would have like the stoner, the Mexican mouse come, because that's the way she said it. She goes, once Papa Jupe was gone, well, Pluto tells her, then Uncle Reaper had to come in. So is there another colony of edible people eating people?
That's what I'm saying. Like where were and how did he get in touch with them?
Exactly. Smoke signals. So maybe they do get the post office out there. Maybe they drop off packages.
It is like the Old West over there. So it does look like the Old West. It looks like an Old West town. But yeah, I mean, that was a huge loophole. Like Reaper was not in the first movie, but somehow he's like the main villain in this one. Like where'd he come from? And
so that's fine with me. The thing that makes no sense, I agree, is like, why wouldn't, even if she thought that, hey, my brother's dead, my papa died, but I just want to warn
But
you
she would
guys
know.
because some crazy shit would be down here. I would like, her thing was like, I don't want my true self revealed,
right.
but you're in a place that some really bad shit happened. Why not just say like, hey, let's go? She was like she tried like one time to say something, and then they Roy like overmatched her, and she was like, okay, fine.
Yeah, but again, I don't want my true self to be revealed, but Bobby knows that she's okay. So they don't trust Bobby. She didn't do anything. She's basically saying, listen, I'm saving you guys. And she's basically validating Bobby's story. So, so for her to conceal her identity is a complete selfish move, because clearly she's leading everybody to their death.
Yeah, because you're right. She makes Bobby look crazy. She could like help him when it comes to that. No, you're right. And then, so like, wherever they grew up, it looked like a normal city, like where we saw like Roy in the beginning. But then Roy knows to like go to a mine shaft and drop a stone and be like, this is a mine shaft. I guess because you didn't hear like kerplunk. It's not a dam.
Well, it's like a well. I mean, if you saw a well, you're not going to drop something down there. Just, you hear it. So, I mean, I think that's
what he did. He dropped it down to see what it actually
how
was.
deep, how no, I think he wanted to see how deep it goes. Because like you kept hearing the ting, ting, ting all the way down. And like, so like you realize that how deep again, knowing that that's there and knowing that his girlfriend is walking around by herself most of the time. Yeah. Like, I mean, and it wasn't that high. So she easily could have like bumped into it and just flipped right over.
She could have missed Magoodet. She almost missed Magoodet when she was up on the balcony. When she went up the ladder.
Yes.
She was walking. She touched the edge. I'm like, oh my God. Like,
and again, later in the movie, he says, run. He tells her to run. Where's she running to? Like, she easily, so, okay.
This is the first time we see how powerful Cass's senses are, because when she senses on the bus, that's something like everybody could hear. But when she senses somebody's watching them, and then in the distance, we see Pluto, Michael Berryman, like with his knife, like holstering his knife, and you're like, oh my God, that's really far away. It was like rocks in the distance, in the like high up.
Wasn't he like doing some kind of symbol, like a light thing? Wasn't he he was
that's when they were coming down the road. He was doing that, right? I think they were still in the car then.
Was he like? Was that for Reaper? Like, who was that for? Like, why was he shining that?
Oh, I think his goal is to get people to pull over. So maybe that's why he did it. Because then people will be like, oh, there's a light in the desert. Maybe somebody's out there by themselves and stuck, like a camper or something. So maybe that's how they get people sometimes. He probably has a whole like treasure trove of things that he does. Maybe he like puts a bike in the road, pretends he gets hit.
Considering that he knows how to ride that bike very well. I mean, like, again, it's like the Michael Myers thing. How does he know how to ride a dirt bike? Not only ride it, like he's doing like skid outs, and he's like, I mean, he's riding it very well. Although he does fall off like
unless they ate bike somebody that had one of those a few years back. And,
wait, so you think so he eats them? Oh, so he eats them, and then he gets their talent.
No. Not only he gets their talent, I just think he has the motorcycle to practice on. Maybe Papa Jupe was like, I got you a surprise, and there's still like a hand on it, and he has to get that off of there.
All right.
Which you did get that later in the movie when there's like that buffet of parts of body in that one room. So somebody must have been eaten recently, unless Reaper was chopping up the people that he takes care of in this movie pretty quick. I don't know.
Doesn't it spoil though?
I would think you got to refrigerate it, right?
Well, maybe, but I don't know. Okay, the refrigerator. What is it plugged into? There's no electricity out there.
Well, then have her. Oh yeah, you're right. Well, no, they have a generator out there. They're able to run it. What are they
filling it? How are they running it?
They're running off of like gas. They're running off of oil, right? Because that's what's name said. There's fuel in here, but we can't use it for the car, but we can get the generator going.
Where are they getting the fuel from? They're in the middle of the desert.
Everyone that they get and they eat, they probably throw it in there and just like, yeah, whatever works.
So then where's everybody's cars?
That's a good question. Where are all the cars? They keep the clothes. Maybe they know a used car dealer down the road that they sell the cars to, but they keep the clothes. So maybe they don't have a good clothes dealer. There's no like secondhand goodwill around.
Why do they keep the clothes? There's only 2 of them.
I don't know at all.
And it looks like they don't like. And it looks like they never change their clothes. I mean, they literally probably wear the same clothes every single day, so, which is not a lot. I mean, I don't know what Reaper looks like. Again, Reaper looks like a caveman. Like he looks like, you ever seen the movie Caveman with Ringo Starr?
Yeah.
He looks like John Mazuzek? The main bad caveman who wore the big bear.
Talking about, yeah.
He looks just like him. Like that's what he dressed as.
No, the guy was huge. He looked like a guy that could have been like WWF wrestling.
Oh yeah.
He was like a monster. I know these actors are probably not that tall, but he was just like hulking. And you saw some cool stuff in this movie. There were some cool shots that Craven did during the kills. That was like, I don't know. I'm not saying it was revolutionary. I'm sure it was done in maybe a slasher from the 60s and 70s. But when there's that POV when he's taking out Sue Penny Johnson, that's pretty good. I like it.
Okay. All right.
But we get Penny right away. We like almost guess that Sue might be the one that breaks the 80s rules because she's not wearing a bra. And you're like, I'm like, oh, it's just so weird to look at her that way. I'm like, God, she is attractive. I'm like, this is, oh my God, dude. But so where are we at? So now they're so
basically they start exploring and they just randomly walk into houses. They're looking around. They split up to explore, which again, I don't know why they would split up and just randomly walk. Like they don't know if someone lives there, and they were just walking around exploring someone's house.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, red flags, I wouldn't think like, oh, people eat people, because that's not something you think about. But if I saw a whole thing in an old ass place with like newer looking clothes and like a mink coat and like all these different outfits, and I do love when Roy does the old like arm trick. That's like a horror thing that it's so cool. Like boyfriends do that in so many movies. They do that whole like pull me behind. And then you have Harry's dressed like a slasher guy, like with a weird.
But you would put on that stuff though, like you'd put on.
Oh, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't put it on.
And to think about like how musty, buggy, like it's got to be so gross, and they're like putting it on like it's like fun. It's like fun wear to throw on.
No,
like
disgusting,
gross. And they seem to be like into pranks a lot. These guys are in there, like I said, they're in their 20s. All right. Well,
yanks and pranks.
They did. Or the cranks or pranks?
Cranks, yanks, or pranks, yeah.
So is this where Ruby's walking by herself also?
No, Ruby is Rachel's with Hulk. Because remember, they're trying to like look, and then that's when she goes, oh no, that's a raccoon. And then from there, she goes by herself, and Pluto like ambushes her. They start like, dude, their fight scene was crazy, right?
Okay, so she's like a ninja. So
she barrel rolls from the down the level
when she jumps over the railing, and like, but before that, she's like kicking, throwing, like she's doing like karate stuff. But was Pluto waiting up there? Like, how did he get up there so fast? Because they saw him in a distance, and I feel like between him and Reaper, they move very quietly.
No.
They somehow are able to get everywhere without anyone hearing.
Gotta be wearing wrestling shoes or something. You don't hear them at all. You hear like the Reaper like gives himself away because you don't really hear him, but you hear his whispers. So maybe you throw his voice like a ventriloquist across the room.
Well, they have a lot of practice. I mean, there's nothing else to do out there. So what are you gonna do? But I mean, Pluto, there's only one way up there. It was through the attic, ladder. How did he get up there?
He snuck in. He's waiting, but the fact that she knocks him off, and then she is, instead of being like, "Hey, I just knocked this guy down. Let me go get the others," she was like, "I'm going to take him out myself." She does that barrel roll, jumps over the railing, and then they're fighting for a second, and then he hits her in the head with a pipe, knocks her out.
Which again makes no sense the way she dies, but the pipe does nothing to her.
I'm shocked that she died when that happened, and even though we saw the blood, I thought she's going to be the hero. She's going to come back and sacrifice her.
And even if she's going to die, that was the lamest way to
Yeah.
go. I mean, that was for her character at least.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that should have been Teresa. Like, no, who Teresa's, you've seen her a few times, or you can forget about it. But like Ruby was a main character, like a big part. She dies like the weakest way. So
yeah, she should have been at the. I really thought she was going to show up at the very end.
Yeah.
The very, very end, and like get in between, like maybe save Cass or something. But
I thought that she was gonna go back to the family.
Ooh.
And she was part of this. Like, this could have been the plan, though. So Pluto must be in great shape because he does a lot of running. He's constantly running away, and he must be very slippery because somehow he's able to get away from everybody all the time, and then do his little like childish giggle.
Yeah. Oh my God, man. And then finally after this is like she finally gets the realization, hey, I saw my brother who I thought it was dead. That was my brother, and I lived out here. She's explained everything. Everybody like sort of believes her. And then somebody asks, like, were you and Bobby taking drugs? Were you guys taking acid?
Yeah.
Like, and again, it would be a really far-fetched story for somebody that you've known as Rachel. Like, you probably in their whole adult life, let's say they're 20 years old. So let's say if they knew her for like 6 years, they just know her as who she is. They can't even fathom that she lived in the desert for the first.
But considering the place that they're in doesn't seem like a normal place, you would think they could put 2 and 2 together.
No,
right? I mean, it's clearly there's people living here. There's someone popping around. It's just not a normal, like, you don't believe any of the stories still?
Oh,
like, are they
I
still?
Now it would be 100% because it's like, wait, okay, bomb range check, crazy people check, bunch of really like sketchy things all around check. Okay, this is where this happened to Bobby. This is the same thing.
Yeah, no, they definitely they don't seem like the brightest bunch.
No,
except for the dog, because this is where the dog isn't this where the dog
flashback.
Has his
this is
memory?
where the dog has his flashback about Pluto.
Well, what I love again, because I feel like it's very cartoony. The fact that you see the wavy camera when the dog is like staring at us, and you see the dog's having a flashback. I'm like, I can't believe a dog is having a flashback. It's so
I love
funny.
when they double down on it at the end of the flashback, because at first you're like, who's having this flashback? And at the very end, it's the dog finishing the dream. Like oh my God. So
well,
good.
the fact that the dog and Pluto have this relationship throughout the first movie, and now in continuing throughout this movie is great. I just think it's because the way Pluto talks to the dog is like they're like literally like he understands him. Like, it's just very funny. Their relationship is pretty good.
They trash each other, and then right from there, this is when Cass has the sense somebody's near the bus, because that's when they run there, and they're like, oh, it's just the dog, and then they see the back open, and they realize, and then they see off in the distance that Pluto took a motorcycle.
Okay. So here's two things I have a problem with this. One, he decides to put a helmet on, which, like, would he do that? But let's be honest, I don't think a helmet would fit his head.
Yeah.
So
he needs custom fits.
Yeah, he definitely he needs like a football like shaped helmet.
Oh my God! But then Roy's line, now you're in our world, right? Does he scream like, now you're playing our game or something? And
then, and only 2 of them go after him, right? It was only 2 of them that go after Pluto, Harry and Roy.
Yeah. What was confusing with that was you saw the 2 go out, and then there was like one shot of seeing Michael Berryman, but you didn't remember that only 2 went out. So, because they were like kind of casually close to him. So then I was like, is Hulk out there too?
I didn't realize that Berryman was even on a motorcycle, because like when he came out on, again, this movie, like as I'm writing notes, I'm looking up, and then I thought the 3 of them were just going for like a joyride at first. Like, I had no idea because the way they were riding looked like they were just like skidding out and like just Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh my God. And then even if one of my friends fell off, even though if we're searching after somebody, I don't know, dude. Like, I wouldn't leave him by himself, because he just leaves him. He just leaves Harry on the ground. Yeah.
And then, I mean, what comes first? Are they still chasing, or is this where Harry gets it?
Harry at the same exact time as Roy uses his boosters and then knocks Berryman off. it happens sort of at the same time. So I have Harry's death scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't fool old Harry twice, my friend. Nah.
So Harry already got the tripwire to the throat. Okay. So that already happened, which is frightening.
Oh, yeah.
And then this thing's like, I know this one. You're not going to fool Harry twice.
Yeah, I seen this one before in the movie.
Oh, and that thing. The worst part is why would they tell the actor to grab the spike? Because when he grabs the spike, you see that it's rubber. Like, obviously we know as an audience it's rubber, but it would have been great if he not touched it there.
But even so, like he grabs it on its way down. Like that thing is coming down full speed.
Oh.
Why would you get in the way of that? Like, yeah.
And you see how rubbery it is, or it's made out of probably like a plastic mold or foam.
And it's swinging high. Like, would you want to stand anywhere near there? Like, why would you even do that?
It looks like Lydia Dietz's art from
it does.
the
Beetlejuice.
mom. Not Lydia, the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally grabs the. First of all, this looks ridiculous too. Okay, now that's a pretty big rock.
Oh,
to be able to move that thing that loosely like that is like these guys again. It's like Wile E. Coyote. He has they have traps set everywhere that are like like not the normal traps, like not like a Rambo trap where you step on something comes right. This thing was like ridiculous.
Well, there was one Rambo trap in this. There was like one that was just set it and for. Well, I guess that's a set it and forget it one. But the guy was watching that. But the other one, when Roy gets caught in the net,
oh yeah,
that is just like, hey, you went the wrong way. But you know what's crazy about that scene? Like, I wonder if Wes Craven, if you could have like recut that years after. But we really didn't have the audience. We could have just saw like a lot of the slashers do. You see like the big thing fall down, and then you play a crunch or a scream, and then you show the hand move. But they really wanted to show that it hit him, and just seeing him hit it and like in the steps, you like knew that. But Harry ate it.
Yeah, no, he did. It was the first one. Again, I mean, a simple kill. It's silly. You don't really see like today's movies. You'll see The Rock actually crush them. Again, I'm watching this. I'm like, this is rated R. Like it's just like it was like silly. But then Roy knocks Pluto off the bike. My question is, Pluto runs. Why is Roy running after him? Why is he not taking the bike after him?
I know.
Because Roy jumps off his bike to chase him by foot.
I think it's because right at that point is when he heard Harry. He heard like a sound. So I think that he wanted to get down to the bottom, like what is going on there. Because I think
I don't think
why
so.
he chased them up,
he didn't hesitate. He just literally went after Pluto the whole time.
Yeah. So maybe he wants to figure out what's going on. Maybe there was. Yeah, I don't know.
So I was very confused in the scene because one, he got the bike back. So why is he even bother chasing Pluto at this point? But on the way back though, there's only one bike, right? Because he has when he brings Pluto back. I mean, after their fight, there's only one bike. Where's the other bike?
He left it. He wanted it so bad that he still left it in the desert, and he used like a rope that he found to hold him. And I'm like, he can just turn and punch him. Right?
Yeah.
He had a knife, but it was nothing.
Why does he need Pluto?
I don't know. There must have been something that he sensed. Maybe Cass, his girlfriend's senses rubbed off on him.
Yeah, but the minute he sees Harry's hand, right? Doesn't he see Harry's hand?
Yeah.
So at that point, he should have just like killed the guy or something. Like, you killed my friend. He's still bringing him back like as a prize. Like it, and yes, that noose was very loose.
Oh, super loose. And then this is where he explains, you don't have to worry about me. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't kill anybody. Yeah. You don't worry about the Reaper. And you're like, oh, okay. So the Reaper is there's just like one person that is out there doing all of this. And it was like, I don't know if in the first one, I don't remember if Berryman was like trying to kill people or if he was killing people, but for him to say, I don't kill anybody, but he was trying to murder his sister, right? That confrontation, he was trying to
Well, I don't know.
fight her. He threw a pipe at her head.
Well, to knock her out. Yeah, but he did it. He left her there. He didn't kill her. Maybe he's just playing. Like he's got the kids. He has the kid little laugh, the silly
Lenny.
laugh.
He's Lenny from
he's Lenny, and he just wants to play with these people, and that's why he's playing games with them. Okay.
But where was Pluto? Like, where were they going? If you notice when they were walking, they were just going like deeper and deeper into a cave.
Yeah, and like because when they left the bike there, it wasn't near the caves.
Oh yeah,
it was on the outside of it was before he chased them. So like, why are they so deep into the cave areas? Like it should have been open area. That's when they left the bike.
Yeah. And how did he get loose? That's one thing I missed. How did, after he had the noose on him, how did Pluto get loose? He just like punched him or something?
No, because Reaper came out. Reaper came out of the cave.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Okay. And then that's when he got on the bike and was getting ready to go away. Okay.
Right.
And that's when he gets caught in the net.
Which, again, why was he spared?
It makes zero sense.
That makes zero sense. And that net looked like he easily could have gotten, like, the net, because it wasn't like it was dangling. The net fell to the ground, right? Like, he fell to the ground with the net.
Yeah.
And then he was just stuck there? Like a spider web? You just couldn't get out?
Yeah, he was stuck. Yeah, he was stuck in like a spider web. Yeah, why did they spare him? If it was like a female that was spared, that would make sense because in horror movies they do that a lot. So with Roy's like breaking all the all the rules. They're breaking all the rules for him because there was like no reason to keep him alive.
Okay, all right. Sounds good.
It wasn't like they were getting ready to cook him. Maybe if they like put him in a big pot and he had to wait for the big pot to boil and he's in it, and then that's the whole timer for the movie. But no.
Yeah, but basically Reaper's killing everybody. Like there was no hesitation on anybody. So the fact that he left Roy there, unless he didn't know Roy was there, which is possible because he ran away from him.
Oh, maybe
that's the only thing. He just left it because he didn't realize he was there. That's the only explanation. Because otherwise, he literally just tries to kill everybody.
God, and then how about the same scene? This is when Cass is telling everybody what she senses. She goes, I just heard Roy scream, which again, she wouldn't be able to so far away.
Well, but she explains it. It's because who's the guy we don't like?
Foster.
Foster. And he goes, or I think it was him. He goes, you heard? And she goes, well, I sensed it.
Yeah.
So she corrects herself. So she can now sense things besides hearing them and smelling because she's constantly sniffing around like she smells what's going on.
She's a bloodhound.
Like I thought she smelled like that's what she's ridiculous. But I thought she smelled like just the dirty like people. Like like it's just so disgusting over there. I thought that, but they don't like that doesn't come into play. She has more senses than smells.
Yeah, no, another thing that is after that, she senses something horrible, right? Hearing like her boyfriend scream. And then they kind of talk her out of like that being the thing. Cause then she starts giggling. Like then she's like, then they're back to normal conversation, like right after that. And then what do they do next? Hey, you know what? They're probably pranking us. When they come back, we're going to put a bucket of water above the door.
Let's not forget, it's like midnight now. It's like pitch black. And so they're not even concerned that these two guys, their two friends, went to chasing, let alone chasing someone that's stealing. Ruby knows that this guy is a lethal person. And now they're just hanging out in the middle of the night, like, you know what? Let's wait for them to come back and prank them with a bucket of water.
Yeah.
That's no concern that they're missing in the desert with a crazy man.
And she's into it for a second, Ruby. She like is sort of playing along. And then I'm like, wait. And then they go, oh, you know what? We're going to go out and look. Me and Hulk are going to go look. Okay, great. And then Foster and Sue are like, oh, we're going to get some tools. And it's like, okay. So in this bit of the water, they'd be like, oh my God, this is going to be so funny. Yeah. Like Cass can't even see it. She can't even see this thing when it happens. And it's just Teresa.
Wouldn't that happen to her? Like if she's walking out, she's searching by herself. Wouldn't she be the one that got caught with it anyway?
Yes.
And what tools is Foster looking for? It's pitch black.
He's looking for 2 headlights. It's Sue's headlights is what he's looking for.
Well, he found them.
He did, yeah.
Right.
How about
yeah.
a joke that I'm going to take away from this movie? The joke that she tells Cass, right? Doesn't Cass tell the joke about the little frogs? How do the French eat frogs?
Oh,
first they put one little leg over, and then one ear, and they put one little leg over there. Oh,
well, that was his turn. That was his foreplay.
That was the foreplay. Yeah.
Well, like she says, I don't. She goes, Beast. I don't want him watching us.
And let's get rid of the dog. The dog that is, without them knowing, is having flashbacks of the time he was a hero and saved a life. They're like, get out of here. We don't need anything.
This may be a dumb question, but what happened? I don't remember what happens to Beast. Does he make it?
Does he make it at the end? That's a good question. I feel like
I don't think you see him after the Pluto scene. You don't see him after the Pluto scene, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he's just so basically the dog is randomly just in the desert now, and no one. Yeah. Okay.
He's hanging out with the dog from Friday 4. It's fun. I'll chat. They're hanging out together.
Okay. All right. I thought maybe I missed something, but I'm like, no.
I don't remember what happened to him. It was that we saw that scene. Yeah, because he's not in the final set piece, right, at all. No. So I don't know what's going on.
Okay. All right.
God.
Fair enough.
And then we talked about it before already. The shower in the middle of nowhere.
That makes no sense. Like, first of all, she gets excited when she sees that it works. Like, she's really excited for it. And then, she decides to take a shower because she needs to get this filth off her. She's in the middle of the desert. I want to shower and get the dirt
off before, Harry comes back. It's like, dude, Harry's not coming back. And who gives a shit about Harry?
Okay. And you know what? Harry seems like the kind of guy that could care less if you're dirty or not. I don't think Harry would care. So
he's going it all in it. And you know what'd be funny, like a drinking game for this movie, is I don't know if you realize they mentioned the bucket of water 5 times. After they did that, because even when they were walking to the shower, they're like, do you think we should take the bucket of water back down when they come back? They're like, no, it's gonna be so funny. And I'm like, all right, this is they're climbing now. They're at the point that they have to climb through the window just to keep this joke going.
And it's in a random, abandoned, house. Why would the guys even go in there in the first place?
Exactly. If there's no lights at this point.
So they should have put it, maybe on the bus. Knowing that they're going to be going on the bus, that would be a better, prank. But they're putting it somewhere where they're not even guaranteed the guy's going to be going there because there's no reason for them to go there in the first place.
Yeah.
Or, not only that, they left the blind girl there. Right after Ruby leaves, she's sitting there in the house where the prank is. Why would they leave her there? That's almost a prank on the blind girl. That's a prank on the blind girl. Everybody, let's leave. Let's leave her here.
Yeah. We'll be right back. But how about if you didn't realize she was blind on the bus, it'd be really funny if you finally realized after they turn the power on and they turn the generator on and the lights go on and she's there by herself, she reaches out. And because she feels the warmth of the light bulb. It'd be great at that point when she's like, the lights are on. You're like, what are you, blind? Of course they're on. You don't see that? And then you're like, oh, okay.
Well, you know what? Again, the things that she does and the way she's able to get around, you would never know she's blind. Outside of the fact that she never looks, her head is turned sideways the entire movie. What you talking?
Oh my God. So then at this point, Rachel and Hulk are walking into the desert. And at this point, this is kind of crazy. I wasn't expecting it to go ape shit pretty quick. But from this point on, everything is pretty crazy. People, we're probably right at 45 minutes, 50 minutes. There's only probably 30 minutes left. But when they are in the desert and what do? They hear something? Is that what makes it happen?
I think they heard something, but
no. The motorcycle came out of nowhere. So the other motorcycle that was left there, Roy's motorcycle.
No one was on it. No one was on it, right? It was
that's what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we heard Pluto. I think we did hear that. So even though he doesn't kill people, he helps out Reapers. So he gets
he sets them up.
That should count as a kill.
No.
Yeah, you get to heaven. It's I just handed the guns out. or I lured the people. I didn't sink the boat. The boat sunk the boat. The boat sunk itself. I just put a hole in it. But he takes no responsibility. But the fact when Hulk goes, oh, it works, and he starts riding away, she falls off the back of it.
Okay, so because I think they see Pluto or something, or either see Reaper or Pluto. I forget who they see out there, because that's why she like, let's go. Because first of all, the fact that they're searching in the middle of the night it was ridiculous. But she goes, let's go. She jumps in the back. Doesn't last 5 feet.
Oh, I know.
Like she falls off within seconds. It almost looks like he didn't even realize that she was off, because she's like, I fell off the bike, and he kept going straight. So that would have been funny if he left her there. Like he didn't realize that she's not holding on to him at all. Like, but that's, he turns around and he goes, don't worry, I won't leave you alone, is what he says.
Oof.
Yeah. And then, which the way he goes, I mean, that's a massive weapon. Like,
oh
that's
my
like,
God,
that's from like a pirate ship. That's a harpoon or whatever. Like, where do they get a harpoon?
How do you
from?
make that? Yeah, where do they get that? Because I don't think they can craft it there.
No,
it's not like it looks like it was made like a blacksmith. It looked like perfect. It was pristine, shiny,
and it was huge. Like, you're gonna kill a whale with it, and this thing somehow had enough velocity. They set it up with such velocity that it's gonna go right through them. Like
right through.
They're pretty crafty. Right through. I mean, and like they're very crafty. I mean, they might not be the brightest, but they can make traps.
They can make traps pretty good. So now we have, he is dead. She's like by herself. Cass is walking around blind, and then this is where Foster shows up and is peeping on Teresa. Dude, and his line is so
cringy. Well, the whole scene is cringy. I mean, like, he's not only peeping, he literally walks up to her. She immediately, like, at least she covers herself. Like, a lot of these movies, like, they'll still talk like, oh, you caught me. Like, like she's trying to hide, but he's still standing there having a conversation with her. Like, again, she decided to do this in the middle of, so can't blame him. But I mean, you'd think you'd turn around, No. And she said something, right? She goes, you're just going to keep staring at me? Or what if your girlfriend saw me? Or, what
and then and then he gives like a shitty excuse. You're like, oh, she'd understand. And then she walks up and she's like, "What?" And kicks him in the balls.
Oh, totally.
But it seemed like the girl was like lingering. Like
she was.
Teresa and Foster was kind of weird thing. It was almost like
will
they
him.
want that? Oh yeah.
If the girlfriend wasn't there, they totally would have, because she was smirking. Like she liked the fact that he was. And she was setting him up. I mean, she clearly set him up, because she saw the girlfriend there. But if the girlfriend didn't show up, he would have taken a shower with her. Yeah,
and then Sue, again, I know you're in a fit of rage. Your boyfriend was staring at another girl's boobs. But you think, again, you still have people that are missing. You don't know where really any of them are, even the people that went in the search party. And you think, let me just start running around the desert. And then his plan is stupid too.
Yeah, but between the both of them, I mean, like, she's running into the wood in the desert. He decides to use whatever little gas they have left to go follow her on the bus. Like they're stuck there; they can't leave. But he's gonna risk ruining the maybe damaging the bus even more, and wasting all the gas just following her in the dark,
going over cactuses and giant rocks. How about just run after her? She's not that far ahead. Like we could see her like the whole time when he put those lights on, we could see her the whole time. But and then
I thought he was going to run her over by accident because he couldn't see it like that.
Yeah.
Because why else would you go into there was no sense to go in a bus. So like that, and literally the bus does not go that far. Like it doesn't make it that far.
No, it breaks down. It runs out of gas or something happens to the engine.
Yeah.
But when he gets out of the bus, and his death is pretty funny because when he sees the axe on the ground, he says something like, what does he say? He says like a silly line like, "Hey, how'd that get
he does
there?" And then and then he gets pulled under.
So how did Reaper get there? Like he got there fast enough to get underneath the bus to pull him under.
Great question. Well, the bus is going really slow.
It was. I mean,
I guess you're right. He was far away because he just shot the spear. That was probably like a mile away. Yeah.
Right. And how does Foster die? because all you see is they
Oh, axe
drag
to
him
the head.
underneath.
We see the axe to that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's, okay.
He's in the room. They do that like that.
Oh, because is he holding on to the axe? Like, how did the axe get
the
underneath?
guy grabs the axe when he sees the axe on the ground, and he goes, "Hey, well, how'd that get there?" He grabs the axe, then grabs him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and well, that's the other thing is that somehow Reaper's able to bring everybody back to the house and set them up without anyone seeing or noticing anything. Well, I mean, clearly Sue's not gonna see anything, but everybody else, everybody else would see it. Although there's only 2 people left, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And one
like the whole Jason and Michael Myers of like propping up the bodies. I always like those endings. So that was cool that you did get one, especially you have somebody that's blind that can only feel around and she's touching like everything. Yeah, it was pretty creepy.
Everything. And the fact that it's funny, like she's able to recognize every single. Is that possible? If I guess if one person has a beard and one doesn't, you can see who's who. But if they don't, if they all are again clean shaven and girl, can you really tell by the face like who's who?
I
and
think
she
so.
literally
People have different noses, different ears.
You're gonna. How often is she touching everybody's nose that she knows who has what nose?
Maybe every time when they first meet, they go honk. And she knows.
All right, so every time she sees her friends, let me touch your nose just in case that if I ever have to recognize your face, I know what your nose looks like.
It's like checking ID. Okay. She's like, "Are you really Bobby?" So yeah, of course I'm Bobby. And she feels the nose. She's like, "All right, that's it."
I would think maybe haircut would be the easiest.
Oh, haircut. That'd probably be pretty easy. But then somebody can wear a wig and pretend there's someone else.
Then you pull the wig off. Okay, and then you pull the wig off.
That's true.
I don't know. I think knowing nose. A lot of noses are very similar. I mean, there are some big and smaller noses, but for the most part, the average nose is gonna be the same. I think it's gonna be hard to recognize someone by a nose. I think hair would probably be the easiest way.
Hair's the go-to. Hair's first, and then nose.
Or I mean, for a woman, you could grab their chest, and then that would give it away. Well, if they're dead.
Oh, they're dead. Well, I don't know. Sue was a 34C. All right, let me go feel the other one. Teresa was a 36C. She's like doing.
Well, I guess you could do it. I guess you could do the same thing for a guy. Then that's she checks guys also. So that's so if you're blind, that's the way to check. Because that'd be a little different.
Yeah, no, that's always different. Yeah, curve to the left. Oh, that's Richard. That's Richard. All right. And this is where Cass finds again these like cannibals in the middle of nowhere. I don't think they need a hidden like place under the fridge.
No,
like she hits that button and she finds the fridge and then she finds it goes into the secret compartment. But why do they have to have that? They don't hide the clothes, but they hide the bodies.
Well, they got maybe that's where it's because heat rises, right? So everything's cold down there.
Oh, okay.
So they can put the
fridge.
So they got to put the food down there. Yeah, but the fact that she's able to find the hidden switch, which is amazing, she finds that. And how many times did she like swing her arm down the shaft multiple times to check? I mean, multiple times.
She had to be 100% certain that happened.
Yeah. Okay. And
then who at this point is back? Who sees? Is it Rachel? Somebody sees somebody, or is it Teresa? Yeah, I think Teresa, right? She goes, hello, because they see a shadowy figure go into the house. Then she goes into the house. Yeah. And then she sees the floor's wet and she's looking
it might be Teresa because...
No, it was Teresa, yeah. Because that's when she dies.
Because the other one gets thrown through the window.
Oh, yeah. Sue's death is awesome. No, Teresa, she follows what she thinks might be Harry or Roy. And she's looking for him in the closet. That was creepy as hell because most of the time in horror movies, when they check the closet, we like, okay, they check the closet. But when she just checks the one side, and I didn't even realize that until I rewatched that kill, and then Reaper flies out, a monster bear hug, and just oh no, doesn't Foster fall out first? That's what first creeps her out. No, doesn't a body spot?
Yes, you can see the axe, and then so Reaper comes out and basically body crushes her to death.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, is that possible?
I think it is. She was, I would think if you crack somebody's spine.
I mean, okay. All right. Because this is where and then Oh, okay. So the other one doesn't die through the window yet. This is just Teresa right now. Where is
Teresa.
then where's Sue at this time?
Sue's just in the desert still. So all this happens so fast because I think when we cut to her, she walks to the bus.
You're right.
Like looking for him.
And she's able to find, she knows exactly where the bus is. And like, she's able to get to every spot she needs to easily.
Yeah. But Sue's death.
Wait a second. Wait, how did she get to the bus? Wasn't the bus driven by Foster?
Yeah, but he was chasing after her.
Yeah. So how did Sue find it?
She probably just started walking back to where she was coming from. Probably just turned around and walked right into it. But her death is so cool because you see like her walking, and then you see a POV, which I don't know how much they use that in slashers. Maybe they did use it a ton, but it just looks so cool of him running at her, and then you just see her fly through the window. You're like, holy shit!
This was the first, to me, like first real kill. Like this is the first real horror kill. I mean, clearly, this is the rate. This besides the boob scene, this is the rated R. This is the reason why it's rated R. I mean, because this is like a slasher. I mean, her throat cut was pretty,
great.
I mean, right there. Yeah. So
she's done. She's sad to see Penny Johnson go, but she's back again, right? But doesn't when he places her body, she's naked, or was her top down? Right,
I don't think so. No,
there was something weird. I thought.
No, she's dressed.
Oh, she is. Okay.
No, that was the only boob scene. It was literally a 2-second scene.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so then from there, Pluto's free.
Yes.
And this is where he's fighting Rachel one-on-one.
This is ridiculous. This is so like, this whole scene is just very silly. And it's, I mean, like it's, again, you know what? Like I said, there's not a lot of likable characters, but for a villain, I loved Pluto.
Oh, dude, yeah. And wasn't he kind of silly too? Because when he was running from the dog, when the dog shows up, right, he jumps like a far jump. And
doesn't she say who's Beast, or wait till Beast sees you or something like that, and he goes who's Beast?
Yeah,
and then the one that almost killed you.
Yeah, and then it jumps out and knocks the knife out of his hand, or the gun.
Yes,
gun or something.
No, knife. Yeah. But then he gets away again.
He does.
He always gets away.
Oh, so in this scene, this isn't the scene that he dies in right here? He just runs away?
Because remember, I thought he was taunting the dog from the other side of the...
Yeah.
He was standing on top of it. So he was taunting. So how did Beast get to the other side? See, I got confused on this part.
See, me too, because that's what I was thinking about, was he taunted him by jumping that big gap and started making fun of him, because I wrote down what he was saying to him. He said,
the stuff he was saying,
you got the brains of a beer can, you flea bag. So then that's what it was. And then Rachel, at this point, she gets knocked out. Somebody set up, it must have been, whose body was it? It must have been the shortcut, right?
Hulk.
Oh, it was Hulk. Oh, it was Hulk's body, right? Was set up on like a catapult sort of thing and knocked her out.
Well, no, kills her. She doesn't she fall? Oh wait, I'm thinking Ruby.
No, you're right. That's Ruby and Rachel, same person. You're right. The body comes out and hits her, and then she hits the rock.
And she falls and hits her head on the rock, and which again, such a lame way for her character.
I know.
But then how did Beast get to the other side of the mountain without Pluto?
So this is like a few seconds later. So this is like, I mean, not a few seconds, but it's like a next scene, because Beast finds Roy, licks his face to wake him up.
That's right. Okay.
And then that's when Pluto comes up and says, I'm going to finish you off. And I guess he realizes he forgets about Beast. Because that's
was Roy still in the net?
Sort of.
So you're telling me, because he was still fine when he was caught up, that little drop knocked Roy out, because the net fell to the ground, and Roy's been out for a couple hours, because
longer than that, because it was already light now.
Okay, so that little drop knocked him out for a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
All right.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's when Beast saves the day and knocks off Pluto gets knocked off the cliff. He's done.
Now, again, the fact so Beast did a little trickery. He snuck around another way to get to
Scooby-Doo.
where He Scooby-Dooed him. Okay.
He Scooby-Dooed him, and it worked. It worked.
It worked.
And this is the part we kind of talked about this earlier, but Cass, at this point, she comes out of the refrigerator because she didn't hear anything. She didn't hear Teresa die, any of that. So she climbs up, she gets back into that room where all the bodies are, and she's like stepping in blood. And she's like, sort of
not only stepping in it, she's licking it because she brings her finger. No, at first she thought it was water because she says, "Oh, the water." She said something about water. So is that what blind people do?
Trick, yeah.
Yes. So is that what blind people do? Like if they feel liquid on the floor, they taste it and see what kind of liquid it is. Because that's what she did.
I hope not, because then that's a real game of Russian roulette.
Oh, a real game? I would say the odds are it being something safe are going to be very against you. It's going to be dog. It's going to be a dog that peed on the floor. It's going to be blood. It's going to be whatever it is. But like the fact that she did that right away, she felt it. She put her fingers in there and licked it. Oh yeah, it's water. It's so
crazy.
Gross.
And then the helmet falls. So this is where a helmet gets knocked over, and she's hearing Cass. So there's whispering coming from somewhere. And I think it's funny where it's coming from, because it doesn't make any sense to hear it that well when it's coming from a skylight, like a sky window.
But how does he know Cass's name?
Well, I think because he's peeping and he hears people talk to each other. That's probably how. Because again, in these movies,
you think he's that creative that to understand? The guy could barely put two sentences together.
I don't know. Pluto went back there and he said Cass, and here's the name, here's the layout.
When Pluto's the smart one, you got a problem.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. But when she finds the helmet and reads Roy's name, and then again from there she hears a sound up. This would make no sense, because if she heard a sound there, you would think that the Reaper would have to be up there, right? Like you would have to be standing there. But when she goes up there and she's like walking around, which frightened me because I told you earlier, she almost went 100%. Over the ledge. She definitely almost 100%. Went over the ledge as the actress, because her arm touched it and she did a quick jump back.
Listen, if you're a blind person, I would say one of the most dangerous places to ever go to or do is climb a ladder as a blind person. So
just anytime there's a second floor, I'd be scared.
Oh, yes, but at least a ladder. I mean, you don't know if it's attached to anything. You don't know where it's going. You don't know if it can fall. You don't know what the ledge is. You don't there's so many things. I mean, she has no fear. It doesn't even look like she's afraid. She just goes where she wants to go.
Yeah. What's her story? What's her background? Was she always blind? Was there a horrific accident that happened? Because you're right. She has zero fear at all, because even when the Reaper falls through the skylight, which is very nice that they had that at that, 1850s Western ranch. But when he falls through that, first thing I thought about was there's no way he could have been walking up there. And then also those whispers, they sounded like they were coming from in there. There's no way he's throwing his voice from outside a window.
Again, he had a lot of practice. He's been, they have nothing to do out there. If they can rig these barbaric traps, I think they could learn ventriloquism.
But God, and then she's trying to get away from him. And in my head, I'm like, he's picking glass out of himself. At least they make it seem like, okay, this
he broke his leg. It looked like he broke his leg.
Oh yeah, he's moving. He moves like he broke his leg. He's very slow, but he's picking glass out of himself. She's taking her time because she has to, going as fast as she can. She climbs through the fridge and she finally she gets away from him.
Yeah.
Or does she? Because she goes the wrong way. So instead of going out and up to go through the house, she gets chased by him and she's to the mine shaft.
So that was the first realistic thing that happened to her the entire movie. The fact that she did go the wrong way. I mean, but listen, they had to get her in the mine shaft somehow.
No. That was some great thing about, obviously, because Wes Craven wrote it. There's a lot of callbacks. There was things that happened early in the movie that came to fruition. The bucket of water, sort of in a way, because that's what made her sort of not think that people were dead right there. But then also the mine shaft, because that was something that happened the first minutes they were there.
Wait, you didn't think they're going to end up in a mine shaft somehow? When that's the first thing they showed right away?
There's a lot of movies that don't do that. There's so many times that you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, okay, they're explaining this because there's a payoff later. It's oh, nope.
You watch a lot of Mineshaft movies?
Yeah. There's a mineshaft horror subgenre.
Okay.
My
would think
Bloody Valentine is one of the few.
I would think that if there's a mine shaft in a movie, like someone's falling down it, like someone's climbing out of it, falling down it. You know, they're not just gonna have it. So I was just so I don't know how mine shafts work. First of all, so the mine shaft that they had there, it wasn't that big, right? I'm assuming it's a way to bring things down to the mine.
Yeah,
but there wasn't a lot of room. It wasn't a big what?
That's where the bodies were. That's where they probably dumped the bodies down. And I guess somebody catches them because the room that they were in
that's what I
is
mean.
where all the body pieces were. So
right,
there should have been like a piece of wood there or some platform.
See, I would like to see a movie of Reaper and Pluto of like their daily life.
What do they do day to day?
And just see, like, you know, seeing how they're like, you know, see their meals together, you know, eating body parts, putting, you know, fixing the mine shaft up, like just, you know, see what they do on a daily.
Watching Bugs Bunny
their
cartoons. Wile E. Coyote for inspiration. That's his idol.
Okay.
Like Pluto has a Wile E. Coyote like poster on his wall. Acme is like they're wearing like the Bugs Bunny shirts and everything. Yeah,
that would be funny. Yeah, if he had a Bugs Bunny shirt on, that would have been great.
Because tourists probably wear those. It'd been great if they were wearing the tourist clothes. Like they had a camera, fanny pack, Hawaiian shirt, the old like the green hat, like green like visor.
I would have liked to see him wear at least an Acme shirt. Like if he had like an Acme shirt on, then that would have been cool.
Yeah, or catalog. Like even as an Easter egg, just have a Acme catalog sitting down there. Like even if it was covered in dust, burnt, but that'd have been like a funny like. Because that's what they were building. All these traps were
100%
from the cartoons.
100%, absolutely. So, all right. So she's in the mine shaft. So, there's multiple ways to get down there, I guess. Because
I think there's only two ways. I think it's going down the ladder in the refrigerator to get down there, or actually taking the mine. Or, she just gets tripped up because that's where she starts finding all the body parts in that room when the Reaper's coming down. So she's kind of stuck. She can't go back up, so that her only way out is to go to the mine shaft. To climb. It's frightening.
Again, and she doesn't even know what she's climbing to. Right? No. She just sees a rope and she decides to start climbing.
Well, she didn't see anything.
That is true. There's a lot of those today.
Somehow Roy got there just in time because he hears her and he gets there and he's like talking about how frightening would that be? Like he's seen the Reaper, but not like really seen like what he's done. Because in his eyes, he knows obviously Harry's dead. Like he knows that, but that could have been. I guess he saw the trap, so I guess he put two and two together for that. But like you're pulling your girlfriend up, she's screaming, and then underneath, you see like this hulking, like freakish of a person on the other end.
I feel like he would not fit through that mine shaft. He's such a big guy. Like I don't even know. But first of all, she climbs pretty fast. It's not easy to climb a rope, and she does it like flawlessly. But what I don't understand is when he gets her. Which I thought we were going to get a part where like he's going to grab her leg and like she's going to have to like struggle like going up because Reaper has her leg, but that didn't happen. But instead of cutting the rope, why didn't he just like throw something down and like a rock down and like something like to hit him, something heavy to hit Reaper and then cut it?
Yeah, knock him out, kill him instead of not giving him another chance. We skipped over the part like how smart she was when she was hiding, when she started pouring. What was she pouring on herself?
Oh yeah, I thought it was gasoline at first. Like it was like some kind of gasoline or something, or
some liquid that somehow tripped up.
You know what? It was something that not even the smell. It was his eyesight. It must have been some like the it was like Clorox or something because he couldn't see that well.
She bashed him in the head with the bottle.
She bashed him in the head with it, and he couldn't see. So like now he's playing in her world.
Yeah,
that's how she did it. That's what made her think that. Like, yeah, I mean, okay. It's probably that maybe embalming fluid because all these dead bodies.
Yeah, maybe it was that because it was something that like it made him not like try to smell for her because he couldn't because he used that smelling trick too. That's how he hunts, I guess. But
Right.
God, so the final scene of the movie, I have this clip, and I had to put it in because so many questions about not how they got in there. That was pretty simple. But they surround him with the super fuel, and then what he pulls, like, what if that didn't work?
Wait, this might be the scene where she runs. This might be the scene.
Yeah, this is when she runs. Yeah, he tells her to run. Through the flames.
Yeah, I know. And she's blind.
Yeah. He's scary looking. Look at him. He's wearing like a hubcap on his chest.
Watch. I think she sidesteps here. Watch.
Come on, Roy! No! Pass!
God, he is frightening. And then just what he gets her to do. This is what's crazy. Like, he could have, like, ran the other way or something.
She knew exactly where to go? How did she know exactly where to go?
I don't know. To push that giant rock. What if A, she couldn't push it? Even though I know it's at the edge, but that's his way out? In between his legs? Like a cartoon.
Through fire. It's more than a cartoon. Okay. So...
the end piece, I have to leave it because it is very cartoonish. So if you're just listening, which most people, so let me set it up. So now this guy is surrounded by flames, which for some reason he's scared of flames because he won't run through it. And he goes into the bus and he looks under a blanket, and under the blanket, which I don't know what he's expecting to find because he's looking around. Oh, he's sniffing and you go, oh no. Fuel. And they blow up the bus. Boom.
Okay. So there's a few things here.
Okay.
One, so Roy's master plan was to rely on his blind girlfriend to go exactly to the mine shaft. Because if she doesn't do that, Roy's dead.
Yeah.
So that was his plan.
That was
why. So why couldn't Roy run out with his girlfriend? Why did he have to go slide out with the chain? If his girlfriend, because it was already lit, the fire. I mean, the girl ran through the fire. So why couldn't he just follow her?
But she didn't run through. It wasn't fully formed yet, so she had a little opening. But
okay,
agreed.
Okay,
he could have ran right after her. Yeah, he could have jumped over the flame. He still went through it.
He went face first through fire. I mean, like, so his plan, again, no, he's relying on his blind girlfriend to go exactly to the spot where she needs to go. I mean, listen, you ever close your eyes and, like, just run or walk? It's like hard. Scary.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like, you don't, she went right to the mine shaft, like, no hesitation, got there in time. But he went, like I said, if he didn't have that, he could have jumped over. But his plan was also to destroy the only thing that can get him out of the desert, the bus.
Well, I'm hoping the motorcycles, maybe a motorcycle is still fine, but I don't know how much fuel it has because they blew up all the fuel.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, if that's the case, they're spending the rest of their life in that little town because there's nothing close nearby. So so that was the plan.
And what if the Reaper did the old Yokozuna and just sat when he was going in between legs, sits on him, and then Roy's arms get pulled off? Like what would have stopped that?
Had they also know that Reaper was afraid of fire? What if Reaper decided to go after them? It sounded like a very. I mean, first of all, very, very. Again, it was like a trap based on what Pluto's been doing. Like, it was another Bugs Bunny mechanism that got him out of there. It's like ridiculous. But yeah, like there's so many things that could have happened that should have happened to that plan, and everything worked perfectly.
Yeah, that could have been a very simple plan. They could have taken the exact plan from the first movie. I know as a viewer, we'd be like, oh, they're doing the same thing. But like with theirs, they had the person go into where they think they were, and then a match lit off. They could have did something a lot safer because it made zero sense. Even though I know he's like a inbred cannibal, he's got to be smarter than to go into the bus. Like, you think that's where your savior is, to go into this bus right now?
Well, I mean, there is fire all around you, so maybe he thought it'd be safe, but I just realized that. So this is basically the exact same ending of the first one.
It is, yeah, in a way, yeah.
I mean,
Pretty
it
much.
blows up in a trailer. Here, he blows up in a bus. The same.
It works
same
the
angle.
first time. It worked on Papa Jupe.
Well,
Did it
then
work on
you
Reaper?
would think then if Reaper was around, you're like, all right, we know we want to stay away from buses and trailers because we're gonna, and fires. They don't do that.
They didn't listen. And I guess maybe he's from a different part of the family because he's not named after a planet. Which why is Ruby? Oh, I guess Ruby is for Mars, right? Isn't that like the nickname for Mars?
If you say so.
Because it's Jupiter
Ruby-
and Pluto.
Okay, but Ruby is Mars.
I think Ruby
Where
the
do you-
red
where do you-
planet.
Okay.
I think so. I think that's the thing. But like, what couldn't he have a name? He could have had like.
Oh,
he could
Reaper.
have-
Reaper's not a planet.
It's not. That's what I mean. He is not really liked in the family. He didn't get like the
Yeah, but
the
neither
solar
neither
system
Ruby.
nickname. No, I think
Ruby's
that's Ruby
not
Red
Mars.
Planet.
I don't think so.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you're listening, tell us that Ruby was the nickname for one of those, maybe Mercury, something like that.
Okay.
That's the end. So we get at the end of the movie, it's fully light out now. Oh no, what am I talking about? They did the perfect. Oh, you got to make sure the person's dead because he comes out, which again, the actor they used in the flame suit, so much skinnier and shorter.
Yeah.
Comes over
Again,
"Ah!"
and we say this all the time. They never make sure the person's dead.
Never.
Never. They rely on their plan and then walk away.
Yeah. And then what happens? He kills himself. He goes, I'm going to chase after him. And then of all places for him to step, he is not blind. Obviously, he's covered in flames, but he is the one in the movie that falls into the mine shaft.
I would say that if your face is covered in flames, you're pretty much blind.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't think you're seeing anything. So,
And yeah, and he saw the bottom of the mine wherever that ended.
now, but did we see a body at the end? Because you
No,
don't
but
know.
They never made a third one. I'm surprised.
I
that they
wonder
didn't make-
why. Did this do well in the theater? I can't imagine.
I
it
don't
doing
know.
well.
I was just thinking because of Craven, what happened after this year, because he was already a name. Because he did The Last House on the Left, he did the first one in
Right.
75, 77, then this and Nightmare on Elm Street comes out. So a lot of times they could have done like some studio, like a Canon Films would have done, which I would think is they would have been like, oh, let's buy the rights, do a third one, and just pay Wes Craven X amount of dollars to just say a Wes Craven film. Or
Did you ever see
something
the
like
remake?
that. No.
I
What's
think
her
I'd be
name?
afraid to see it.
Daniela Alonso's in it. Who's in a bunch of stuff after this? She was.
Yeah, but I just feel like because I think it was made like in 2007, it's going to be gross. Like this movie.
there's a
doesn't
rape.
show-
Yeah. When I searched, when I was YouTubing clips, I searched Hills Have Eyes 2 scenes, and they were all from 2007, and one was rape scene. I'm like, why are we adding this to the movie?
Yeah, so I mean, we're not doing those. Okay.
Was Berryman? I really hope Berryman had a cameo.
You know what? We're gonna have to look that up. That'd be interesting. He should because he's still is he still alive? I think he's still alive. I mean,
I told you.
He looks
like,
at me. He's old.
I interviewed his manager when we talked to RA because I thought her story was pretty cool about all the people that she was repping because she was working with Kane Hodder at the time, but it was just so hard to get. Even
I would love to
Berryman
get
was
Berryman.
so. Yeah. Oh no, he's great.
All right.
Man, so yeah, so that was The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. Jamie, would you recommend somebody to watch this movie?
I'm torn. I'm torn because I mean, listen, it's not a good movie, but it's so silly.
I think it's beautifully
I'm
shot.
very-
I'm not convincing you to tell people to watch it, but
No.
I think because visually, if it was like hacky, we didn't get some of those like it was like well done because obviously Wes Craven.
Listen, it's a typical 80s horror movie. I would say if you're into the 80s horror movies, watch it. You know, I mean, you watch the first, I mean, you probably don't have to watch the first one because the second one shows so much of the first movie. But my guess is the first one is probably way better than this one. But I think again, if you're into 80s horrors, you know, you're taking on a time, I would say you have to watch it. If you're really not into 80s horrors, you're not going to like it because it is cheesy. But it's silly. It's like a cartoon. It's literally like watching a cartoon. So I'm kind of torn on it. So
would you say you recommend it?
I'm gonna say recommended for the 80 horror fan. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right. Look at that, folks. Yeah. All right. We got a recommendation. I like it. I think it was
not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
For me, I don't like. I mean, listen, I think the movie stinks. You know, I'm not a fan. Yeah, it's not for me. But I know if you're into 80 horror, you're gonna love it because it's so silly and cheesy that that's what it is. So there you go.
All right. Well, I would definitely say to watch it. I think it's the cast is like some of the characters I didn't even notice that were in other things that you ran down. I think it's always cool when you get see people that go on to do a bunch in their career. Obviously, Kevin,
Sure,
and Penny. So there is a bunch of people that do stuff after it, and I just think it's so cool when you go watch a filmmakers like James Cameron. Like, I'm not saying I would watch Piranha 2 all the time, but it's so cool to watch a movie that probably didn't have a big budget, and how visually, how you really just need to be, you have to have the eye for it, whether it be like a B movie, a C movie, like no matter what, these people are going to make it look good. Obviously there's other factors to go along with it, but no, I thought it was pretty cool. There were some cool kills, like Sue's kill I think was really awesome, watching him run POV and then cut to the throw through the window. So I definitely say to recommend it.
Okay.
All right. So the next movie that we have up, I don't know if Jamie's going to recommend to anybody, but we're going to have our buddy Nick back. So we kind of like switched the order of the movies we were going to do. But the next one is sequel, which is shocking that there's actually 2 sequels to it. The infamous Rowdy Piper, Hell Comes from Frogtown, or to Frogtown. I think his name's Hell. And I think the first one's called Hell Comes to Frogtown, I believe.
Yes.
This one's
his
called
last name is Hell.
Yeah, okay. So the sequel that which is so cool whenever you get to do these movies, like talking to Kevin, him being the final guy in this, and then him being the final person in Friday the 13th Part 7. And it's cool, the connection, because the reason we got Kevin was when Jamie was reaching out to Denice Duff, who is she's in so much over the years. What's cool about her is because these movies, she is the main star. Subspecies, main star, 2, 3, 4. And then she was recently in the 5th one that just came out. But with even a silly movie like this, and her stories about, playing one of the main characters and working with Robert Zadar and Lou Ferrigno's in this movie, like some of the silly stories she's told about it. And it was funny. She goes, the set that we were on was one that they used in the 50s and 60s, shooting like the big time Westerns. And we're doing this silly scene pretending to fly. So there's a lot of silliness to it. Things you'll never see or ever believed would be in a movie is in, Return to Frogtown 2, which would be fun to have Nick back for it, make Jamie have to watch that. And then, Denise's story is so cool. Like right from the jump, she knew she wanted to be an actress, and just some of the roles that she got over the years, and really just how much she loves it. I love when people really enjoy the business. And it was cool because talking to Kevin after her, they have such a connection from when they were in Romania filming Subspecies 2. So her interview is going to be a lot of fun. The review in 2 weeks of Return to Frogtown 2 will be a lot of fun as well. So so don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only, and don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, guys.